Welcome back, guys. Another installment of the rear axle build, the 8/8 rear axle that goes into the Red Fox. This next part is also very important, and of course it's a part of the second shift racing, or the Garrett Leach formula for a practically bulletproof, for at least 9 seconds in the quarter, rear end for our Fox body. Okay, and that's going to be the UPR rear end stiffeners. Okay, these guys will basically, it bolts to the webbing on the front of the center section, and then these tabs are going to weld to the axle tubes. Of course, with one on each side, what that's going to do is it's going to basically tie in that front center section. It's going to stabilize it, and it's going to stiffen it because it's just more bracing that holds that whole rear axle from deforming, flexing, or anything like that. Because as soon as we get some serious deflection or twisting or bending or anything like that, and we have axles and differentials that are going to be bolted in and they're not going to want to move, they're going to turn into like pry bars and just snap in half, and a lot of carnage, a lot of braking, and it's not going to be pretty. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to mitigate any type of movement, any type of flex that's going to happen on the rear axle. So having these tied together is going to just make this all rigid, because if these are flexing, then it's possible that this center section will flex as well, and we can't have that, because if the center section is flexing, that's going to put the bearings not rolling around on a circular plane, or they won't be rotating concentrically, I guess you can call it. They'll put stress on the ring and pinion, where ring and pinion is going to be out of alignment. The bearings for the differential sending the power to each axle will get out of alignment and out of strain. And this is caused by when we go do clutch dumps and trans brake launches, sticky tires, huge torque reaction, and things like that. So we need to make sure we keep this solid and it's spinning how we set it up, when we do set it up. That's in the later video for sure. And overall, the stiffening of this whole deal is just going to help with consistency. Consistency is the absolute goal for a car that's going to perform, and we needed to do this trick over and over and over again. So let's go ahead and dispel some myths for if you need it, if you don't need it, and some of the things for an 8/8 rear axle. So myth number one: welding the tubes is enough. Well, no. Welding the tubes only helps with the tubes either spinning or rotating or coming inward and outward of the housing. It's not going to prevent that bowing and flexing, forward, backward when we do hard launches and things like that. Needing it for only 1,000 horsepower cars. Guys, we might not make it to 1,000 horsepower. We might be like 900 horsepower. When we're on wastegate, we might be 600 horsepower. But the fact that it's a certain horsepower that requires these stiffenings is incorrect. It's going to be how much torque can get applied for so much traction that the suspension and the tires are going to hold, and then how much weight does this all need to hold up to, because that's what's ultimately going to be braking or needing the stiffening. Is it going to be supporting the torque, the weight, and the traction coming all together? And when all three of those don't want to move, a lot of times things break if you don't have them strong enough. Another myth is we're doing it for just cosmetics. That is absolutely incorrect. There is actually a measurable benefit to having these front stiffeners. There's even on the market weld-on stiffeners where it welds onto, they make a weld-on one versus the ones that just bolt in right here. Well, of course, we are going to be welding these little tabs, but like I said, it'll be like the Team Z brace that goes kind of underneath, where that one's weld on, but it's welded onto the back of the pumpkin, and these ends buy the lower control arm brackets, but they do make one that comes over on the front and welds on instead of these, which basically bolt on and then you're welding little tabs over here. All right, so I've taken my bolt. I've already gone ahead and basically sized this thing up. I think this is actually just a touch smaller, but in this case, we want to work our way up. So I'm going to try and drill this one out because we already have holes here, so it's not exactly needing a pilot hole. It just needs to be kind of made a little larger. So let's go ahead and get this first one. Go ahead and knock out the other side. All right, so as you can see, we got our rear axle level. And now we just need to take, and both of these guys appear to be the same identical length. Yeah, they're the same length. So there's not a left side, right side. What I will do though, is I will put a little bit of slack on here so that actually we're gonna do this in a calculated way. Basically, I want to have some room to come in and to come out. So if I bottom this guy out and I go, let's see what we're gonna do. Oh, it's left-hand thread. Silly me. All right, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 3. We'll do 3 on each side. 1, 2, 3. Put our little jam nut down. So we have something, you know. Put this guy down right there. So let's go ahead and tighten this guy down. Tighten that guy down. And then we're going to go one, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Put that into the housing. No flex at all. Okay. There we go. All right, so let me go tighten this down. I got my welder set up, ground on, filler rod, tungsten sharp, ready to rock and roll. Now, this is one of those nice to have tools that in a previous life when I was a pipe fitter, I had these flange master sets, and what I can do here is I can set this up here because I know I leveled out the axle, but now this is set to be level, or set the plane of these two guys to be level. So I know that the up and down from this straight edge is going to be up and down, and as you can see, it kind of puts those brackets that got to be welded on, puts them right in the middle of that tube. So take our little flange master, attach it right here, and just kind of work that bubble right there in the middle for it to be level, and then we tap. So with this bad boy on there, we're going to basically put a little bit of preload on it. Look at that nice logo. Put a little preload on it, and then we're going to lock these guys, these lock nuts down. Same for the other side. We're going to, yeah, this way. Put a little bit of preload on it, and then tighten the little jam nuts down so we don't go nowhere. Now, don't worry, you don't need to tighten with all your might. Okay, we're just trying to make sure this thing don't go nowhere. And these tabs, they're probably only going to hold so much, so just keep that in mind when you start to He-Man it. And that is not going anywhere. And that is looking nice and pretty. Okay, so don't worry. Rear axle is still a little ugly because we're still going to be doing some welding, some fabricating on it, but we will be painting it, okay? So calm down. Basically, we took the initiative to get after these stiffeners because we had the parts ready to go, and all we had to do was just weld on those little tabs. But we got our new differential right here, and over here started pulling off for the shim that was on it before, but I've got the ring gear, I've got the pinion, we've got our axles, we got the axle ends right here, and we got a nice little bearing kit with a new pinion flange. But we're waiting on some tools that I thought I had, but I do not have. I have, you know, torque wrenches. I have the dial indicator to do the backlash and stuff like that. I do not have a pinion flange holder, which in order to really torque that pinion down, you need one of those things to properly get it torqued down, as well as I don't have a beam indicator torque wrench, the beam torque wrench, basically to test if we have enough bearing preload onto the pinion for when we go tighten that down. So I don't have one of those. I'm short one of those, but good old Amazon came on through. We should have those tools come in tomorrow, and then we can go ahead and get started, because for the most part we have to go ahead and pull the 65 away because I've got a press back there that's going to help us get all those bearings on there, and for us to be successful in building the differential, making sure that we get preloads, nothing's going to get in a bind, everything's going to be secure, all that fun stuff. But we're going to be taking care of that on the next video. But for this video, hit the like button, comment your thoughts below. Do you think this is worth it? I think it's worth it. So, but hey, this is the part of Second Shift Racing Garrett Leach, 8-8 combo recipe. So we're going to do as we're told, and we're going to follow the directions, follow the recipe. So comment your thoughts below. If it's your first time here for subscribing, why don't you hit the subscribe button? And if you're wanting to watch these videos early, you got to hit the, you got to become a member. $2, all it takes per month. That's the first level. And you get early access to all of the videos. The other tiers, they have their benefits too, but you find that out when you become one. So I will see you guys later, and thanks for watching.